According to Wikipedia, the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution abolished slavery and involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime. In Congress, it was passed by the Senate on April 8, 1864, and by the House on January 31, 1865.
Now, I don't know if you understood the definition that of the 13th Amendment of the United States. It says that involuntary servitude is prohibited in this country. And it basically means that we the people have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness without anyone, especially law enforcement officers, violating your rights by getting you to do something that is in conflict to the Constitution. So, this is my way of trying to get you to understand my point of view from my mistakes. When I was arrested, and I resisted arrest, but when I was arrested in my home for no reason by a law enforcement officer that had no business in my home, they took me against my will out of my house to the police station. And I'm going to share with you my experiences so I can try to show you what I did wrong, so hopefully you get it right. They took me to the police station. The first thing I did wrong was to agree who they say I was, which means that I shouldn't have given my name. I should not have given them my name. I should not have given them my address or had them coerce me into agreeing that that was my address. I should not have given them my social security number. As a matter of fact, I should not have given them anything. For the reason I say this is because, see, we have rights. And it is a law enforcement officer duty, first duty, is to read you your rights, your Miranda rights, which is you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say or do will be used against you in a court of law. Then they go further into saying you have a right to an attorney. If you can't afford one, they'll kindly provide one for you. And so on and so on and so on and so on and so on. But this is the situation I want to explain to you. If you have the right to remain silent, then why are you giving them your name? If you have the right to remain silent, then why are you giving them your address? If you have the right to remain silent, then why are you giving them your social security number? And so on, and so on, and so on. Now, as they take you, for one, they couldn't even arrest you without you providing them with this particular information. They're stuck. And when you do provide them with this information, you are now applying for a bed into county mental institution by providing them this information, which the 13th Amendment prohibits when it comes to involuntary servitude. That means somebody forcing you to do something you actually do not want to do. But when you do it on your own accord, you are going into voluntary servitude because nobody's forcing you, twisting your arm, or doing any of these things. You are giving these people this information free with your liberty at stake. You are giving up your liberty by volunteering information that is none of their business. If a cop pull you over and asks you where you're going, it's none of his business. If he asks you for your name, it's none of his business. If he asks you for your address, it's none of his business. None of this is his business. The only thing his business is if he tried to see someone committing a crime. There's no crime, then all this other information is none of his business. Now, when they take you to the police district, and they call this thing a process, it is a process. I've been through it. And I made mistakes. And the mistakes I've made, I'm trying to share with you to see if I can get some of you to get by the mistakes I couldn't when I didn't understand what I was doing when I made those mistakes. Now, when they bring you to the district, what they do is they place you in a cell. They place you in a cell. You might be there by yourself. You might be there with 2 or 3 other guys based on how busy the district is this particular day. You'll notice there's other cells down the side of the same side of the hallway or the cell you're on, and you'll notice there's other cells across the hallway. And this is a process. This is a revolving door of prison cells, and they have to get people in and get people out in order to keep the business rolling. So, the process of applying is an application. When they take you to the district, after you volunteer, give them your name, your address, and your social security number, and all this stuff that wasn't necessary. But by you providing it, they kindly took you to the cell because you asked to be put in the cell because you gave them information to be put in the cell. If you kept your mouth shut, you couldn't have been put in that cell because they didn't have the information to put you in the cell. That was you identifying yourself to them as somebody they could hold under their authority, opposed to not identifying yourself, remaining independent, or in other words, self-governing. You placed yourself or submitted yourself to the law that you really didn't have to, because to remember protects us from this. Now, when you get to the district, they put you in a cell. This is the process. The first thing you do is they have you go talk on the phone to the district attorney. The same person who's going to prosecute you. You're talking to the district attorney. A stranger. Somebody you don't know from a can of paint and you never met in your entire life. Over the phone, you are talking to the person who's going to place charges on you to keep you long as he possibly can. So, this is another reason people understand Miranda rights when you have the right to remain silent. Opposed to remaining silent, you go talk voluntarily to this stranger called a district attorney who has nothing in his mind but prosecute. So, I'm going to remind you, when I was coming up, my mother told me, don't talk to strangers. So my lesson was, through this 4.5-year ordeal, is that everybody I met through this 4.5-year ordeal was strangers to me. So if I remember what my mother told me as a boy, I would never have got put in jail. So don't talk to the district attorney. When the officer say, come out this cell, go around that hallway, and talk to this stranger, refuse it. Anything you say or do will be used against you, so why say anything to these strangers? Refuse it. I know most people, I know all people, I know, petrified of this. In a way, they want to say no to these people. That's how petrified they are of them. But the way you get around these people is say, no, break that fear. No, I'm not talking to you. Then after they have you go talk to the district attorney, then they go, Then once you come out, give them your fingerprints. You know, they want you to go out here and get the people your fingerprints. And in this process, it goes like this. They have you come to the table, give me your hand, one finger at a time, and then they say, hold up, take your time, roll with me. And you go roll with them, and you go through this process of giving them your fingerprint, which you don't have to do. You can say, no, I'm not giving you my fingerprints. But for some reason, we're so stuck on this process, we used to just going into these places, these strange places, and giving up things that nobody else ever asked us for, like we're obligated to, when we actually are not. So, this is the second phase of the process of applying for a bed in the county prison, or a pre-arrangement for a bed in a state mental institution. Because now you're giving them your fingerprints. Now, you give them your fingerprints, you go back to your cell, you wait a few more hours, if you're lucky. Everybody I know in the police district is waiting to see the judge. Everybody is waiting to see this judge. Everybody wants to see the bail commissioner. But you don't see the bail commissioner yet. You have not finished the process. So now the whole objective is for the police to do is to sweat you out. See if they can keep you there long enough for you to want to get out of there so bad you're ready to go to the county opposed to staying here. But see, this is the trick. They only can hold you for 72 hours. They have to process you within 72 hours. That's the trick. If they don't process you in 72 hours, they gotta put you out of the police station. Put you out, literally kick your butt out of the police station. You can't hold you no longer than that. Now, your fingerprints is taken. Now, the fingerprints is taken. You sit back in the cell some more. You might hear people saying, hey, did you see the judge? The judge just left. He ain't coming back to 7 in the morning. You know, it's 12 at night. Oh, my God, I want to get out of here. The van getting ready to go upstate. If you're getting ready to go to the county, I'm ready. You know, I know people wore out. They can't wait to see the judge. Everybody want to see the judge. Everybody want to see the bail commissioner. Don't know if you're going to make the bail or not. You hope you get RR, but you might get a $500,000 chump. You might be in jail a long, long time. You have no idea what the bail going to be. But this is a situation. Before you see the bail commissioner, they need your photo. They want to photograph you. And this is the thing. I'm going to show you this. This is an illustration. Over here is the wall. They tell you, go over there and get against that wall. Right here. Look. Go against the wall. And against the wall. They say, stand up, look, stand up, put your back on the wall, and face the camera. Hold your head up high, look at the camera. And no, when they take these pictures of your photo, they call them mug shots. These mug shots are for exploitation only. It's just to exploit you. Look up the word exploit. To be exploited is to give up your picture. Hold it. And understand this. After you look up at the camera, then they say, I'm at the wall again. And they say, turn to the right. Stand still. Take the picture. Look, understand me when I say this. The 13th Amendment prohibits this. Ain't nobody forcing me to get against this wall. Ain't nobody forcing me to look in this camera. When they tell me to do these things and I do it, then I become their slave. Everything they say do, you do. Then you are their slave. But like this, I haven't seen, I've seen the Public Enemy #1, John Diligent, all them people in the movies, they mugshots. I've seen Frank Sinatra's mugshots. I've seen, Black Incorporated mugshots. I've seen all these guys who have been gangsters. But when they tell you get against the wall, look at me. Get against the wall. Nobody forced me to get against this wall. Somebody tell you to get against this wall, and you do it on your own accord. Tell you turn to the left. Turn to the left. Ain't nobody forced me to do this. I'm volunteering for this. Because I'm doing everything that they're telling me to do. Now, they're going to use the same picture that you're giving them when you don't come to court. They're going to use that same picture to come look for you for your bail. Oh, it's a warrant out for your arrest because you gave up the picture for us to lock you up. So, I'm like this. You tell me to get against the wall, for example, no paparazzi, please. No pictures. I'm going to stay in that cell for 72 hours till y'all put me out of here. Now, after you finish with the photographs, the fingerprints are done, you talk to the district attorney first. The only thing left is the bail commissioner. Now here we go again. You're going to go in front of this monitor and talk to these strangers on a television screen. Now, this television screen signal is transported other places. So when you come up here publicly and get on that screen, there's other people watching this. Come and see you voluntarily go to the bail commissioner office in this little room, and you're getting on the screen looking at this stranger in this camera. The stranger going to ask you, state your name for the record, and you're going to give them your name. Do you live in so-and-so and so-and-so? And you here again, giving them your address. See, without that information, they can't do nothing. But when you provide it for them voluntarily, then they can do what they do because you're applying for it to be done for you. Now, after he hits you with this, I don't want to see no bail commissioner personally. The only person see a bail commissioner is a person who wants bail. I don't want no bail. I want to go home. If you get bail, you ain't going home. And you're lucky you get RR, you might go home, but they're going, and this is a trick. Understand this. After they finish charging you, because you permitted to be charged, ain't nobody forcing you to be charged. You permitted to be charged because you went to the room to get the bail. The bail is only based on your charges. If you don't go in to see the bail commissioner, then they cannot charge you. So my point is, you can just sit in your cell for 72 hours and sweat it out. But most people I know can't handle that heat. I mean, if you can sit in a cell, if you can go do 2 years in the county, you can do 3 days in the district without sweating it. But most people I know will be gangsters, killers, robbers. They slap their mothers and they do the most hideous things. But they can't do the 72 hours in the district. They can't do that. You go upstate, oh, you the man, oh, bad nigga in the street, I got this and I got that. But in reality, you's a punk. You can't do 3 days in the jail. And then you think you John Gotti up in the prison. But what I'm saying is that after you come out this room from this bail, you ain't done yet. There's one more thing you must do to complete this process. One more thing. They can't take you up to the county prison yet. It's one more thing that's required. Now, what could that be? This is what it is. It requires your signature. It requires your consent. After you've seen that bail commissioner and you got that bail, it ain't done yet. Now, when you come out of that room after you got that bail, now it requires your signature on that little electronic machine. When you sign that little electronic machine, that is a guarantee of your appearance in court. You see, before you sign that machine, you ain't guaranteed to appear in court. And you don't see any of this stuff until after you sign your signature on the machine, and then they spit it out to you with all the stuff on here. If you don't appear in court, it can be a warrant out for your arrest. But based on all the information you just provided to these strangers, now you're lucky if you do get out, but it might feel good for the moment. But don't appear in court. You see, if you don't sign a signature, you don't have to appear in court. But once you sign that bail bond, that's what it is. It's a bond. Once you sign that bail bond that guaranteed your appearance, now it's on. So you put yourself in a situation. If you don't make bail, you stay in the county. You got a bed made up. You just apply for the bed. You just apply for the food. You just apply for the clothes. The first thing you're going to get is the best medical. Well, they ain't going to say the best medical, but you're going to get your intake. You can get your medical, your physical and all that before you get put in population. All this stuff you just applied for. The only thing I'm saying is this. You have the right to remain silent. Shut the hell up when they're talking to you. They're strangers. Remember what your mother said. Don't talk to strangers when all these people are strange. They might be frightening, but your only defense is to remember they are strange. And once they are strange, and you make sure they know that you know they are strange, ain't much they can do to you because you ain't supposed to talk to strangers. But if you continue talking to strangers, then you submit to their authority, which means that you begging to be put in slavery, opposed to you're volunteering it. The 13th Amendment prohibits involuntary servitude, but everything they're asking you to do, you are voluntarily giving it to them. So ain't nobody forced you, nobody coerced you, nobody threatened you. If you want to say, hey, I'm just scared, just say, hey, I'm just scared. But basically, ain't nobody forced you to do anything. You did everything on your own. They asked you for this, and you give them this. They asked you for that, and you give them that. Everything they asked you for, and you can't wait to give it to them before they ask you for it. But this is just an example of the things I've been through, and they call this intake. Listen, when you go get locked up in the district, they call it intake. And intake is the booking process. What the booking process means, they booked you reservations in the courtroom in the immediate future. They have a date for you booked. No different than you book a seat in a restaurant. No different than you book a ticket for the concert for Beyonce or one of these rappers. Everybody, when you buy something in advance, it's called booked. Now, when they lock you up, they call it booking you. Now, for you to make those reservations, you have to, for you to reserve those reservations, it requires your signature. So, but the thing is, we so ignorant, we don't understand what our signature means. We think that little piece of pen and that paper don't mean nothing. But, man, you have the authority. You have the authority. Judges don't have no authority. All power was given to the people by God. All power was given to the people. Even with Donald Trump in this election, Donald Trump ain't nobody. It took the people to vote him in. That's how much power people got. They voted this character in the election. That's how much power you got. What do we do with our power? When we ignorant and don't know what to do with this power that God gave us, our power is the authority is in the signature we have. That bears our name. What we do with our power when we don't know what to do with it, we give our power to a stranger. And who would that stranger be? They call it a power of an attorney. So you put all your trust into another stranger, a man that don't know you from a can of paper. For some reason, he's interested in you out of the blue. He's interested in you because you think that he got his name John Giova, some Italian something. You think his name is get your freedom. You know, you come out your pockets, you give him everything you got, and the next thing you know, when you run out of money, then he pull the rug from under your feet, let you know, well, they're gonna take this deal. I thought I paid you to help me, but now you're trying to talk me into taking a deal. But this is just for starters. I'm gonna cut this down for a minute, and I'm gonna go to the next phase. Until then, minute.